NA Open this weekend?
I think Gillyweed was the highlight of the show for me. There we go. I've got the draft now.
Cool. All right, I'm almost there.
But I'm glad that I got to say that Gilly was the best part.
Yeah, Gillyweed is one of our regular casters here, and she casted the NA Open this weekend and did a fantastic job indeed.
All right, so here we are in the draft. I can hear myself. It's okay. Here we are in the draft. Stoker's mac and cheese, delicious, has banned out Zeratul. Looks like Stellar Lotus has banned out Jaina and made their first pick of Kael'thas.
You know, we actually have this really cool spreadsheet of data that Steve provided for us after the NA Open, and it's a lot of things like, you know, which heroes were banned most, which were played most, etc., etc. Zeratul was the most banned hero in all of the NA Open this past weekend, so not a surprise to see Stouffer.
I was going to say, absolutely not surprised. And there we have some really good picks for Stouffers. They're going to start off with Sylvanas and then follow up with Johanna.
Indeed, and also, of course, Kael'thas and Jaina being two of those most played heroes from the NA Open. Johanna actually being the most played. Sylvanas, I feel like I didn't see as much of her this weekend as I feel like I normally do. What do you think, Kai?
That's true. We tend to see her picked or banned in every game here in the Challenger Series, but over the weekend, she was not quite as popular.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's because of this kind of change in meta where you need everyone to be able to... I don't know, I almost feel like team fighting was so prioritized this weekend, and I'm definitely seeing that from Stellar Lotus as they go ahead and pick Malfurion. Malfurion's someone that with Tranquility, which is his large AoE heal, he can kind of put a lot of players underneath his kind of healing wings. And so with Kael'thas, especially someone who is a little bit more delicate but can deal a lot of damage, that's going to be really useful in team fights. Sylvanas, on the other hand, is really, really great at pushing lane. She can be useful in a team fight, of course, with her heroic ability Wailing Arrow, which can silence a large group of heroes, but she's certainly not one that we think of as a large burst damage dealer.
No, definitely not, but she has tons of uses on the map. Cursed Hollow, like we mentioned, she can work almost as a mini curse on her own. Don't need no stinking curse. You've got Sylvanas. Looking at Stellar Lotus's pick, though, they picked their healer going with Malfurion, and then the safest of the safe, Vala.
Yeah, Vala is kind of, I call her the wingman. She's just always been around since the beginning of time in Heroes, and she's always been a great choice. Never a bad choice to add Vala to your team, especially when you've already banned out Jaina and you're looking, as it seems, to have a little bit of a bursty, very damage-focused composition. Stellar Lotus now does have 2 damage dealers and a healer. They haven't picked their tank yet, and Stouffer's Mac and Cheese has. So I would not be surprised to see a Stouffer's warrior ban here to try to kind of thin out the pool of available tanks for Stellar Lotus.
Right, force them into a less optimal pick.
Yeah, and Muradin is one of those warriors we've seen be just prioritized. I would say Muradin and Johanna are the two that people are really...
Absolutely, absolutely.
But it's not going to be Muradin. It's going to be Tassadar. Why do you think that was the ban?
Maybe they're planning to play Nova. Maybe they were inspired by the weekend.
Could be. Well, Stellar Lotus is going to take the page out of that kind of thin the pool book, and they're going to ban Rhaegar. That said, I almost feel like, I mean, you're leaving Uther out there, and Uther is so solid a support right now that I feel like banning Rhaegar, they must have a very specific reason for not wanting him to be played. Either that, or they just want to leave a lot of other options open for themselves in terms of assassins and tanks, and so they don't want to ban anything else out.
Well, similar to the reason we thought that Stouffer's would ban out a tank, Stellar Lotus banning out Rhaegar thins the healing pool choices for Stouffer's. And I've turned you up as much as I can on my end, and they're saying that you are still quite quiet.
Interessante. Okay, I will, I'm going to turn myself up a lot in my mixer, but that may give you some hum. So let me know. And I will try to speak right into my microphone. And guys, keep giving us that feedback. Thank you. Usually Gillyweed runs the production here, so both of us are a little bit newbie. Let us know. We will try to make it the best possible casting experience as we can. In the meantime, as we've been speaking, there is that Uther pick. Stouffer's went ahead and grabbed him, and on top of that, they grabbed Tyrande. Now, that's interesting because they had banned out the Tassadar, which we consider a Sapassin, as we like to call them. Kind of one of those utility supports that does a lot, can deal damage, can shield, can heal, and Tyrande is really great at all of those things. So Paired with Uther, she's going to be able to do a lot to control an engagement, also shield, also heal. She can just do a lot to help out a team in a team fight. But Stellar Lotus is indeed going to pick that Muradin, Kai.
Yeah, he is so popular and so strong right now, I don't see why not. I really feel Stouffer's is angling for a Kerrigan pick with the team they've put together.
I would love that. I think that's a great idea because Kerrigan can really use chain stuns. And with the lineup you have here, there's so much chain stun potential, especially with Uther and Tyrande. She can pull someone in with her Primal Grasp and then use Impaling Blades to hold them in place. And then Uther and Tyrande can follow up by continuing to stun. Ooh, it is going to be a melee assassin, but it's going to be the Butcher instead.
Yeah, a different one than I had expected, but the Butcher has been slowly gaining traction in these kind of tournament plays. So I can see him being just as good of a choice as Kerrigan. And then Stellar Lotus is going to go ahead and pick Falstad.
Yes, not real dad, but false dad. It's going to be the man riding the griffin, or the dwarf, rather. Riding the griffin.
He's a dwarf man. It's okay.
What do you think of that composition from Stellar Lotus? What do you think they're going to be trying to accomplish with that?
I'm guessing they're going to have Muradin rush in, perhaps Malfurion follow up with some to stun, and then Malfurion follow up with some roots, and then they've got a lot of line and nukes. Kael'thas dropping the Flame Strike, especially after 16. Falstad if he goes for Shock and Awe, and then of course Vala is always good at blanket AoE.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both these teams have the potential for a little bit of lockdown. I would say Stouffer's is more built around that. And the fact that they have Sylvanas tells me that they're really conscious of the necessity of pushing lanes on this map. And I would assume that we might see some split push action out of them with that Sylvanas.
Absolutely. On this map, Sylvanas is golden at split pushing.
Yeah, Cursed Hollow is kind of a what I like to call a crisis management objective battleground. That means that things are going to spawn and you're going to have to react to them, as opposed to kind of paying a toll in order to make the battleground do something for you. There's going to be tributes spawning on the top and the bottom of the map in 6 different places. These teams are going to try to capture as many of those tributes as they can. As soon as they grab 3, the Raven Lord is going to curse their opponents, and that means their buildings cannot shoot at them, and it means that the opposing minions are only going to have 1 HP. So it gives you a really great opportunity to push and get something done on the map during that time.
Absolutely. All right, so here we are coming into the game. All right, and let's start these teams off, shall we?
Indeed. All right, in blue, it's going to be Stouffer's Mac and Cheese. That's going to be Mistax on Tyrande, Wilted on Johanna, GS Lewis on the Butcher, Bro Montana playing Uther, and Remember Me playing Sylvanas.
All right, and on the red side of the map, we do have Stellar Lotus. It is War Greymon on Falstad, Kiefer's on Muradin, Hydra on Malfurion. We have Nightmare on Vala, and finishing us off, we have Toe Jam Earl on Kael'thas.
Always a interesting, if not appetizing name there, Toe Jam Earl. And we see that the players are spreading out all over the map. We will not have any kind of 5-man gank squad happening during this early game, but GS Lewis and Wilted kind of looking to position themselves just in case someone comes traipsing through the forest here.
Right, we've got 3 in the middle lane for Stellar Lotus, maybe waiting for a pick that is not there. There's no one from Stouffer's Mac and Cheese waiting for them. Same goes for the top lane. Remember Me deciding to take that Vision rather than going in on Nightmare.
Yeah, vision can be a huge thing on this map when you want to know whether you're going to be in danger going for a tribute or whether your enemies are close to a tribute to help you determine whether the costs outweigh the benefits of going to grab one of those. And we will see mostly these teams trying to stay in lane as they're trying to gain experience in this early game, and we'll see them continue to make sure they try to gain as much knowledge about the map as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. With all the different mercenary camps you can pick up and a Sylvanas split pushing against you as well, it would be great for Stellar Lotus to control as much vision as possible.
Indeed it would. Let's check out the talents we have and see if any of those are centered around vision. It does not look like I see anything.
No, Ranger's Mark,
No.
Night Takes Pawn, Invigoration, Reach on Uther going for that healing range. With the Wind for Sylvanas, Reverberation on the other side, Moonburn for Malfurion, Updraft for Falstad, Felon Fusion, and finishing it off as Vala with Siphoning Arrow going with the Q build.
We do have a little bit of a skirmish going on here in the mid lane. The Butcher does get rooted, and he is going to be able to get away. Johanna looking to kind of capitalize on that engagement. Not quite being able to, but she is going to use her Iron Skin to become unstoppable, put herself in the front lane, and body block Kiefer's. Now, Kiefer's can take a lot of hits, and the Butcher actually can't take as many and will be punished for trying to keep Kiefer's behind those lines. Good, a casualty on the side of Stouffer's.
Two more casualties going in, right. Malfurion Kiefer, Muradin Kiefer's backing out of combat, waiting for his trait, which activates healing on Muradin when he's out of combat to kick in, and then jumps right back into the fight, and they take 2 more kills.
Kai, you're super quiet for me now, so I don't know if that's something you can fix on the fly, but sorry if I talk over you a little bit. I'm having trouble hearing you at this point. But
I can probably fix that on the fly. How's that?
Perfect. So
Yay.
All right. Now we have GS Lewis back alive. There's not much in the way of a takedown timer at this early in the game, but we will see that those takedowns will result in a level lead for Stellar Lotus. They now are at level 5, where their opponents are only at 4, and as we go into a tribute, that may determine whether or not Stouffer wants to risk an engagement over this tribute.
We also definitely saw here on the side of Stouffer, Sylvanas getting bullied out of lane by Vala and needing to back right as the tribute spawned. Not a good position to be in at all. That would have given, had they taken it, Stellar Lotus a great time to set up, but they also backed away.
Do you see the Sentinel going out? Tyrande looking to see what's around, but she needn't look far, as she will be taken down very quickly by Stellar Lotus. They are going to use that level lead that they have. They now have level 6, and they're going to grab that tribute. That means they have won. That is the first tribute of the
map.
The game. Yeah. We do see those level 4 talents have been picked up. We have Protective Shield from Tyrande as well as from Uther, so we're seeing a prioritization of protection coming out of that team. We do see 2 Gathering Powers on the side of
Stellar Lotus.
Yeah, Stellar Lotus. My colors are messed up on my overlay, so I always have to second guess myself. But they are actually going to move on to level 7 now. That means they're not only in the lead in terms of experience, but also in talents.
All right, everybody else looks pretty standard in their talent picks. Take a quick look at damage and healing done here very quick. All right, now we're just poking here. We have a little bit of roam going on from Stellar Lotus as they pick up some mercenaries on the map, but they are answered by the Giants from Stouffer's Mac and Cheese, and now we have the second tribute spawning in the southern lane.
And this is hypothetically a really good position for Stouffer's Mac and Cheese in terms of the rock outcropping here. It kind of favors them. However, we do have a lot of members of Stellar Lotus down here. They do have a little bit of an experience advantage, but no longer a talent advantage. Despite that, it looks like instead Stouffer's is just going to look to poke and annoy, and doesn't look like they're going to commit to an engagement here yet.
No, yeah,
maybe
definitely
not.
a poke. It was just a poke fight. It can only be a poke fight for so long, though. The Butcher going south, perhaps to flank. I'm hoping that's what they're looking to do here. We also have Kiefer's pushing on a tower. It doesn't look very concerned about the tribute right now.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have Vala and Sylvanas just content to stay up here in the top lane, either for soak purposes or just because 4-on-4 is fine and neither one feel the need to move. Looks like we have pretty good health bars here. We are going to see that Ruthless Onslaught coming out from the Butcher, but the follow-up stuns don't seem to quite accomplish what they're looking for. And Kiefer's is going to be right on top of Wilted, who will go down. Johanna out of the fight means there's not much to protect the Butcher, who is fleeing. He does not have a lot of escapability, and he will be taken down as well. That means that the rest of Stouffer's has got to get out of the way, but Uther is not going to be able to do that quickly enough. Mistax is now going to flee inside the walls of his base. But they are not going to last much longer either.
Definitely not. Making a few pot shots, stuns on ToeJam and Earl, but nothing of significance happening here in the bottom lane in the way of Stouffer's Mac and Cheese. Looks like those 3 from Stellar Lotus are going to back out. They have better things to do at the moment. And they have reached level 10, so they're going to get their heroic abilities. Let's take a look at those real quick.
Yeah, Yeah, we are going to see Avatar from Muradin, Tranquility from Malfurion, Hinterland Blast out of Falstad, Phoenix from Kael'thas, and Strafe from Vala. So nothing that's too out of the ordinary, especially that Phoenix is going to be really useful in these kind of small confined areas where tributes are looking to be picked up. Remember, we did mention Tranquility in terms of being able to keep a team alive in a team fight. So both of those expected and great decisions for this map.
Absolutely. I like the strafe pick as well on Vala. It has a very wide radius, so she's going to be able to zone on those tributes very effectively with the very big strafe.
Yeah. We are seeing a commitment to that split push that we were talking about. Remember Me on Sylvanas has rarely, if ever, left this top lane. They are looking for an opportunity to take out some structures because that will give them a big boost in experience, but as of yet, only a little bit of damage done to these top lane structures.
Right, that split push, while good in theory, not a lot is happening from it, and it looks very much like Stellar Lotus is trenched in to get their third tribute and make the curse.
Yeah, it looks like we're not going to see even an attempt at engagement from Stouffer's. They did just grab their heroic abilities, though, so they are going to be able to engage at least on that even playing field. But right now, only 3 members of Stouffer's here to defend the bottom lane, and Stellar Lotus, with that curse, is going to be able to do a lot of damage.
All right, and all those heroic abilities do look pretty standard for their heroes. Nothing that would make us go, whoa! Unfortunately, though, down goes to Rhonda.
Yeah, she is going to fall. She's not going to be able to escape easily enough. And like we mentioned, not everybody from Stouffer's being there is taking a toll on that engagement. Nightmare now going to push on the middle. Wilted is there to defend. Uther is going to look to defend down here in the bottom lane. But Stouffer's is spread real thin. And what they should be doing if they're going to spread that thin is to get some real damage done up here in the top lane. But remember Me, again, kind of struggling to get that done.
Absolutely, yeah. Not a lot of work at all done on these towers. 1 down, and that is it. In opposition, Nightmare on Vala has pushed through 2 towers during this curse and is now pushing on a fort.
We saw that Phoenix laid down behind the wall to zone here in the bottom lane against Stouffer's Mac and Cheese. That did a lot to prevent Stouffer's from coming in and defending that wall. Stellar Lotus took down the towers in the wall and then decided to back off. They wanted to use their lead and not take any risks, and they don't have to at this point in the game.
Right. The boss would have been a nice cherry on top for them, but no reason to wipe over it.
Bro Montana now in danger, is going to get stunned. The root does not connect, though. He's going to be able to get out, and he can take so many hits that he's going to be just fine, especially with Wilted coming here to defend. Looks like that fort will go down, and Stellar Lotus is on the prowl. They're looking for that Bro Montana. They want another taste.
Yeah, and here we have Stouffer's Mac and Cheese going in on the boss, but Stellar Lotus was right behind them the entire time. This looks like it could be a wipe and steal.
Yeah, that Hinterland Blast into the Phoenix is going to do a lot of damage to Stouffer's Mac and Cheese. We are going to lose both Johanna and Sylvanas for them. It looks like only 3 members of Stouffer's are going to be left. Bro Montana actually caught completely out of position out in the lane, as we do see a flank coming for Stellar Lotus. That trait will not be... Oh, that wasn't... Uther will go down, and he is going to go into the base. He can heal in that form, but no one really needs healing. They just need to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not dead.
Yeah.
All right, so this boss is running wild through Stouffer's Mac and Cheese base. He is still at half health, taking down this tower. He might actually make a little damage onto the core. On the other hand, Stellar Lotus is moving out. They'll probably go pick up a few merc camps while Stouffer's Mac and Cheese is forced to do cleanup duty in their base.
Yeah, it looked like we have about 20 seconds until this bruiser camp is up. It looks like Stellar Lotus was hoping they could grab that, but are not going to be able to. They were also looking to maybe push some lanes, but instead are just going to fall back and group up. They do have their own boss as well as their own bruisers available to be taken. Looks like they are going to start pinging that, but the tribute is up there as well, so I think we'll see an engagement here.
Absolutely, yeah, Kiefer's already there. He was sussed out already, hit by Wilted on Johanna, so we'll see what that vision does for them.
We are seeing Stouffer's Mac and Cheese kind of desperately trying to soak up a little bit more experience. They have just a sliver before they reach level 13, which would give them another talent tier. They aren't able to grab it, though, but Stellar Lotus is not going to wait. They're going to engage. It looks like the stun on Wilted puts him back a little bit, but they're going to retreat behind that wall. They know they really don't want to engage without having equal talents to Stellar Lotus. And this tribute is not going to result in a curse. It's just one of 3 that they're needed, so it's not worth dying over.
Yeah, absolutely not worth dying over.
We now see Stellar Lotus is going to go looking around the mid lane, just looking for advantages they can take. I'm surprised that we're not seeing them commit to either the boss or the bruisers here. Maybe just looking around to make sure that they weren't in danger. They don't have quite the vision ability that Stouffer's Mac and Cheese does with that Sentinel, etc.
Absolutely, and we have had Sylvanas spending the entire game in the top map.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably is there. Good to be cautious for Stellar Lotus to assume that she is still lurking in her home.
Mm-hmm. So now we are at 13 and 16. There's a 3-level lead for Stellar Lotus. If you are Stouffer's Mac and Cheese, what are you saying in your comms right now to motivate your team? What do you think is the best strategy for them to try to kind of draw the line in the sand here on this battleground?
They are only just not completely locked into their base. Looks like their last fort, outer fort, is going down right now. They needed to get as many mercenary camps as possible to push Stellar Lotus out of their base and into the map so that they would be forced to control lanes, anything so they don't get that claustrophobic feel of being stuck inside of their home walls. Because once that happens, on this map especially, it's very difficult to get out.
They do have a boss pushing against this top lane, and so Stouffer's Mac and Cheese, although the tribute is spawning in, they would really like to get one of those under their belts. Like you said, they're forced to stand here and defend. In the meantime, Kiefer's is looking to do more than just force them to defend. They're looking to engage. Wilted, again, is out in front, but that Iron Skin is going to make sure that Johanna is able to get way back. The Phoenix is going to zone pretty well. Bro Montana's just going to run right through it, though, looking to maybe engage here, but Wilted and GS Lewis are just so far forward. The Bitcher cannot do much by himself all the way out there without a tank or a healer, and he will go down. That means 3 members now of Stouffer's Mac and Cheese are down. Tyrande and Sylvanas the only ones left up, and by themselves, they're not great in a team fight. I think this might be game.
Yeah, we could definitely see the push to end happening right now. There's not a lot coming in to stop Stellar Lotus. They have quite a bit of health and mana. Kiefer is really the only one low here. Everyone else could push 4%, and there we go. We're done.
Well played to Stellar Lotus. I love the composition there. I think it was very well balanced, especially for a battleground like this. I think they also really focused on the right objectives. They were very cautious. We saw them a couple times not take risks that they even could have afforded when they were in the lead. So well played to them. A good fight as well from Stouffer's Mac and Cheese. I like the idea of the split push from Sylvanas, but I think maybe we should have seen that strategy abandoned a little bit earlier, or at least not 100% adhered to the whole time. I think that cost them a few early skirmishes that would have really benefited them in terms of experience.
Absolutely right. It was a good idea, but just giving up everything for it, especially when it wasn't working, not making any push in that top lane at all, maybe trying a different lane or sticking to team fighting. Sylvanas isn't that bad at a team fight.
Yeah, she isn't. She actually can do a lot to really help, especially once she gets that Wailing Arrow that can really all of a sudden change the tide of a battle. And we'll hope to see some creativity from them again next week. This will be the end of their tournament life for today, but that doesn't mean that they're not welcome back next week on Monday. That will mean that Stellar Lotus will advance to face Team Blaze, and I don't know yet which our next casted match will be. Do you know?
I do not. I don't know.